built this wood kiln. It's right here, about a year ago. I want to move all this stuff out of the way and kind of show you what I'm talking about. This is my wood kiln right here. It is a 10 by 4 by 2 box. It was all constructed out of OSB and 2x4s. Yeah, let's go ahead and open this thing up. Here it is open. I just have screws on the top that holds it down. On the inside I have 4 heat lamps, 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. And then I also have a dehumidifier. On the other end I have 2 fans that blow continuously. Like I said, as construction goes, I just have OSB and 2x4s that kind of frame out the entire box. I put this 1/2-inch insulation board in between and then also spray foam in between the cracks, like here. And I go back and put this insulation tape over the seams and cracks anywhere heat or air can kind of go through. So this is where all the controls are. So you see it comes up nice and red, easy to read. So your top one shows you what your current temperature is, and then the bottom one is what you set it at. So you can see right now this fan is running and these heat lamps are turning on, trying to get up to temperature. And also down here, the dehumidifier is on. I do have this thing hooked up on continuous drain. Right down here, there's a hole in the bottom of the kiln, and it runs underneath down here. You can kind of see right here, that's where the wires are, but there's one on the other side, and there's a bucket. And basically, I just stick it under there. There's a hose, and it just drips right into the bucket. So I have 2 right here. So this is, when I do take the other one out, I just switch it with this one. And then this is my measuring device. I just use a 2-liter bottle. So I do have 2 different types of moisture meters. I don't recommend getting, this is a pin one. So the way this one works is you turn it on and you stick it into the piece of wood, and it gives you a measurement just on the surface of the wood, which is not really great. The one I recommend is this one. It uses this back plate right here to measure the moisture, and it can use for different types. I don't know if you can see it, but it does wall, masonry, softwoods, and hardwoods, which is great. It measures up to 3/4 in thickness down into a piece of wood, which is really nice. It is not accurate like the $200 ones that you could get. This one's about 50 bucks, but it is great if you do have a dry board and you put it up to it, same species, same everything, and you put it up to it, get that measurement, and then put it on the board that you're trying to dry. That is the best thing I can tell you how to dry things. Some things I wish I would have known before going into a kiln. Definitely save your money up. This thing costs roughly around 600 bucks, including the dehumidifier, fans, heat lamps, all the electrical work. Be patient, do a lot of testing yourself. Do not rush drying your boards. A thing I had a problem with in the beginning is I cranked it up to 160 degrees and wanted to dry boards really quickly. And what ended up happening was the temperature was too hot in the box and the fans couldn't push the moisture out enough towards the dehumidifier to remove the moisture. So I actually had a bunch of water in the bottom of the kiln, which was not ideal. Understand that boards at different thicknesses do take longer. You can put the same type of wood in, 1/2-inch thick, and then you have another board that's probably 1 inch thick, and they're going to dry at different speeds. The 1/2-inch might take a week, and then the inch might take 2 weeks. So just knowing what you're putting in, trying to get the same thickness is always good. For the electric bill, I would say for me, I didn't see a major change in the electric bill, which is pretty good because I was thinking dehumidifier was going to pull a lot of energy, and the heat lamps coming on and off, on and off. Also the fans running 24/7, that might spike up the electric bill. But honestly, I would say probably $20 a month if you ran it the entire month. Another thing that I could see as a big question is how long does it take for it to heat up to temperature, and how long does it stay in that range of temperature? For getting the kiln up to temperature with nothing in it, I would say about 10 minutes. With material in it, totally slam full, I would say about an hour, maybe 2 hours. And this is actually what's your temperature gauge. So it's heating up on the edges, both sides, and it has to run that heat through the boards, which are probably cold and wet, and then get to the middle. So it may be 160 degrees over here, or 80 degrees, but it's 120 right here. So that's why it takes so long to dry boards, because it's trying to move that moisture all the way from here, all the way to the other end. As for keeping it staying at temperature, I would say when it does that 5-degree difference, probably every 20, maybe 30 minutes. And that basically comes down to how well you built it and how the hot air is going to seep through this crack here and come out, or seep through the corners. Did you insulate it well? So that could vary on your kiln. I would say mine's pretty good. The only thing is I need to add probably another layer of this foam. This is for when the top comes down, it presses down on this foam, and then you can see right here there's a screw hole, and that's what actually clamps it down together and keeps it pretty much airtight. I think it works pretty well. If you're trying to make money off of it, definitely do it. It's worth your money. Just know you're gonna have to, if you want to do it right, spend a lot of money on the insulation. Do it right the first time. Also, when opening the kiln, be careful. I do have these handles on the side here. They kind of lift it up. Hot air does rush out and can burn your face. I mean, it's 140 degrees. It does get hot. So just be careful if you do open it. So a scary thought, I guess, would be, will it catch on fire? And the answer to that is, I don't think it would catch on fire. I do have everything run on a surge protector outlet. So if something does overload or freak out, it should flip it, and then you should be safe and turn everything off. But it is still a concern. You know, always be careful, always check when you do put wood in. Make sure your heat lamps are not touching anything. It has the silver thing around it, so if it does touch something, it doesn't touch the bulb and burn through and start a fire. But yeah, I hope this helps a lot for like DIY home owners, because the YouTube videos I saw on the internet, this one guy was okay, but he made this massive box that just, you have to take it down every time you use it. It's not reusable. And then the other guy that I saw that was really good, but his was more industrial, like an industrial size kiln, and like it was like in a container, so like that wasn't going to be doable. So I feel like this is kind of a happy medium, and I mean this is 2 feet wide, so I mean you can fit slabs in here, you can fit boards in here. I mean, I'm using this more for boards. You can fit some pretty big stuff, and it's 10 feet long from this wall to that wall is about 10 feet long. So you can put like an 8-foot long board in here and it would be fine. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. I wish somebody would have told me some of these things before I built mine, so I'm just trying to help. It is a learning curve to build this and do it. It's like basically like a science experiment. But yeah, thanks for watching.